Hello, everyone. We are Three Gigs, Three Guys in Glasses. I'm Jim.
I'm Paul.
I'm Craig.
And this is another short on construction terms. Today we're talking about back charges. So the definition of a back charge is kind of a cost recovery method for a contractor to recover some costs that were unforeseen from his subcontractor.
Or an owner.
Or an owner to recover from a contractor. So I think that would be kind of a simple definition, but let's just talk about what they really are.
Right.
It's
and why we use them.
Yeah.
So
my favorite example is I'm finishing a new apartment building, and I've cleaned a unit, and it's painted and it's perfect.
This
the
is a
drywall
classic.
is pristine, but my plumber and my mechanical guy have to go in there for a punch list item, right? So they're working through that stuff. I open the doors, they both go in there, they leave, and suddenly my walls are marked up. They're damaged. The drywaller has to go in there and patch and repair, and then the painter has to go back in there and repaint.
Right.
And so both the mechanical guy and the plumber say, I didn't do anything. It wasn't my guys. They didn't do it, right? So I prepare a list of the costs and the time, and I back charge them equally because both of them deny culpability.
Right.
So that, to me, is a classic back charge.
Right. Yeah. And I would be the recipient of what many times I would call perceptions and wild assumptions of what a back charge should be.
Spoken like a true subcontractor.
Right. And it should also be said that when a contractor, general contractor, is aware of one of these things, that they have to notify the subcontractor and let them know that a chain or a deductive back charge is coming. One example for me as a subcontractor is coming out to a job site and digging into a planter area where the landscaper had already pretty much finished it out. I dug for fire hydrant installations, and I dug through all of their topsoil, mixing their brand new topsoil with hard pan cobble material. And apparently that wasn't a good thing to do. And so I had the choice. I was noticed, and I had the choice of either coming out and providing my own labor and material or equipment and material to rectify that problem for the general contractor, or let the landscaper come back out and redo it, and I would get back charged for it. That's a classic back charge.
That's a good classic cause for a back charge.
Have you ever had
A justifiable back charge, as opposed to the perceptions and wild assumptions.
I had a misfire between a plumber and the underground guy for the sewer connection. You ever had a sewer connection problem?
Oh yeah, all the time. Almost in every project to some extent, I'll bet.
Yeah. Why? What?
Well, it's that whole 5-foot thing. I'm asked as an underground contractor to bring my work within 5 feet of the building.
Right.
The plumber is told within their contract to bring it within 5 feet outside the building.
Right.
And so there's that no man's land of 4 feet.
Right.
That nobody. And I have excluded connections, and they did too.
Yeah. So as the owner, I get that one a lot, and I have to look at the contractor, and I have to go, where were you?
Right.
I mean, they're your subs. You got the plumber, you got the underground guy. So it's pretty much always the GC's fault, right?
Right. Well, yeah. Well, I think it is, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
Of course.
It's always our fault.
Right.
It's always your fault.
So then what he's going to do is what? Take the guy that's out there closest to it?
The guy who's currently on site,
you
get
go.
the work done, and back charge the other
So
guy.
I would
who
get the back
scope
charge for
it
that.
should have been.
Yeah, I know. And
So-
then, of course, I'd contest it.
So back charges are deductive change orders to cover things that might be ambiguous out there in the field that just happened and they're in nobody's scope.
Right.
But the general's like, I'm not paying for this, so I'm going to prepare this and back charge these two guys. Or it can be used to cover a scope lap where somebody's out there and somebody's not, and we need to get it done.
Right.
So we're just going to, and sometimes those two guys out in the field, if they get a notice, they might just work it out.
Right.
So that's a kind of key. Just talk about notice and
Right.
things that really, are the good practices of a back charge.
In writing,
Yeah.
Right.
Put it in writing.
early, hopefully early enough to let that person correct it.
Yep.
If they can. You don't want to say, you did something wrong and here's a bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most contracts will share some kind of intent that the contractor has the opportunity to fix it before you charge them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, documentation on all parts, right? All parties, just making sure that if we ever have to sit down around a table or, God forbid, go to some kind of an alternate dispute resolution process, that we'd be able to either defend or prosecute our position.
Yeah. So yeah, like if I'm the general and I expect when you give me a change order for you to provide detailed backup that I can evaluate and then provide to the owner, here, this is valid costs, they're detailed, we know what the price for material, we know. The same thing goes with the back charge. It has to be backed up, there has to be labor breakdown, material breakdown if there is any, and it goes right back to you to evaluate and say, yes, I agree, or no, I don't.
And I need to respond to those sooner than later. We would get all kinds of, like I say, the wild assumptions. You know, we would be out on a job site for the first 3 months, and then we'd be gone for a really long time. And in that time that we were really gone, I would get back charges for trash removal, for example. I would reject that, but I still need to make a note of that and formally reject that. Otherwise, I might get the back charge.
I think trash is a really good one. Just as a highlight, as it, I think it gets abused a lot.
Yeah.
A clean site, which you fundamentally believe in, needs to take effort. And depending on the general contractor, their solution for that effort is maybe they'll charge me. Maybe they'll put in. I mean, I see plenty of charges from the contractor of cleanup, where that contractor's solution has been, we're tired of fighting with everybody. We're going to bring in cleanup people, and we're going to charge you, owner, and it's a cost of the job. There are many contractors who try and push it to the sub.
We just thought it was like the general contractor's party fund.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I will tell you that almost all of my contracts have general conditions. In the general conditions, I had a line item for cleanup. It might be on a big project, couple $100,000. By the end of that project, we probably spent $300,000 by hiring temp labor to come in and clean up after you subcontractors who didn't clean up after yourselves.
Of course, I scratched that out and said only for weeks that were there. We're glad to participate.
Which would be okay. That's the part that's the abuse. When the underground guy is getting charged for labor to clean up drywall.
Yeah.
Can we keep back charges from happening? And if we can't, how do we minimize the potential for back charges?
Well, if the subcontractors would fulfill the requirement to provide cleanup
Once
on a
again,
weekly basis,
Paul would just do his job.
Just do his job.
Yeah.
And I think also if more than one sub is responsible or in question, notifying both of those subs and allowing them the opportunity to see if they can work it out between the two, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And avoid it completely.
I know general contractors who have what a lot of owners think is like a really amazing process for the punch of a unit. But it's really designed to be able to make people accountable. We're going to figure out a way so that we know who messed it up, so we can back charge them, not 5 other subs.
But that takes
process.
restricting access.
Right.
Notification. I'm going to go in here to do work on this unit.
Right.
I need somebody to let me in and then let me out, so that when I leave, you can say yes, it's as pristine as when I entered.
So there are strategies you can do, but it's inevitable that there's going to be, these miscues, and somebody is going to want to back charge somebody else. And it in black and white, it's a little bit more negotiable, but it's a fact.
And it's contractually allowed.
And it's contractually
allowed. It's a notification in advance, communication during the process, detailed backup so that people can't really dispute what the costs were. And then sitting down and working it out. Those are the things that are kind of success strategies for back charges.
Thank you,
Things
Jim.
will go better, not worse, if you can follow that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, that's all about back charges. Hopefully see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.
Bye-bye.